Regular scheduled town council meeting of the mayor and board of selectmen, October 7, 2013 at 6 p.m.
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilwoman Linda Mosaic, District 1. The record reflects she's absent. Councilman Michael Wade, District 2.
Present.
Councilman Don McCallum, District 3. That would reflect that Councilman McCallum is absent as well. Councilwoman Colette Sanford, District 4. Present. Councilwoman Patricia Jacobs, District 5. Present. Also, we have with us City Attorney Mark Patillo, Interim Town Clerk Lori Kirkpatrick, Street Superintendent Big Wells, Mr. Young here. Walter Young. City Chief of Police Russell Wills, and also our Auditor, Ms. Marsha Millican. You have the minutes in your packet from the special call meeting on the 17th and the 23rd. If you have reviewed them, if you don't have any questions, I will entertain a motion to approve them at this time. Moved by Councilman Wade, second. Second. Seconded by Councilwoman Colette Sanford. All in favor, state by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? So the motion carries.
And the legislative auditor requires that when you have a deficit, you have to have a formal plan on how you're going to reduce the deficit. So,
please speak up where we can hear you.
nobody's ever told me I was quiet before. Okay, I'll try to speak a little louder. Okay. If you look at the bottom line on this page, see the very bottom line?
Yes.
The $1,049,003 is the fund balance of the general fund. That's the net profit that the general fund has made since the town of Homer has been in business. And you see a column for the street fund. The street fund has a deficit of $59,260. And you see the industrial development fund. It is a plus of $388,548. And you see the police, and the police is a deficit of $1,284,849. So the legislative auditor is requiring the town to adopt a policy as to how they plan to eliminate that deficit over a period of years. Now, I want to show you one other thing. Does everybody understand that two of the funds have deficits, and the legislative auditor is requiring you to formulate a plan to reduce those deficits over a period of years?
Now, by reducing those deficits, does that mean control spending?
That could be a way of control, yes, controlling spending, or budgeting a profit in those two funds and sticking to your budget, or making operating transfers from the general fund, the fund that does have fund balance. Now, I want to show you one other thing.
Marsha, does the $20,000 approximately that the town gets each year for streets and all, is that included in the revenue that for the street department?
It should be.
I know it should be.
I think the street fund.
Okay.
I think the street fund problem might be coding.
Say again?
I think the street fund's problem might be coding. I'm not sure, so I'm not going to say that's it, but I think it's coding.
Okay, I
I think
just
it's
wondered.
coding.
And while we're talking, Ms. Marsha, you show that the police department has a deficit of over $1 million. Please explain to the community that's here that didn't just happen this year or last year. That's not $1 million that we spent this year.
No, yeah, I'm going to
Please,
explain.
because I know that people really don't understand.
Yeah, I'm going to explain how that happened.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, what you have here that I just passed out is the balance sheet. The balance sheet is what you have and what you owe, okay? But if you look on the balance sheet, if you look up on the police fund, you look down to about the middle of the page, you see a figure of $1,276,032. That's what the police department owes the general fund. Now, the way that has been happening is that when you make a transfer to any fund, you can do it one or two ways. You can record it as operating revenue and it's income to that fund, or you can record it as a liability, which means that's money that's supposed to be paid back. Well, through the years, those operating transfers, some of them have been recorded as a liability in the police fund. That means the police department is going to pay back the general fund, and they have not been reported as revenue in the police department. And there's no right or wrong way to do that. It depends on whether the town expects the police department to repay this money or not, or the street department to repay that money. But the significant liability was in the police department. Now, you can eliminate that deficit simply by making operating transfers from the general fund to the police department, which in essence is forgiving that debt.
How would you think the police department could pay money back unless, I mean, we're not self-supported, we're not making money?
But that's what I'm saying. That's the way this deficit can be fixed. It can be
That's
fixed.
the only way. That's the only way it can be fixed unless we're gonna do $700,000 a year in citations, and I don't think that's gonna happen.
Or sales tax, additional sales tax.
The community did vote one in for $81,000,
So
but
in other words, it needs to be some, like we said earlier, some controlled spending and some
That would
spending
have
that
to-
you watch.
And you need to make sure that in these two funds that already have deficits, that you budget a profit in those two funds.
Okay.
Because if you budget a deficit, that's against the budget law, and the deficit will keep building and building.
Okay.
and what you're talking about budget, when you pass a budget by ordinance, let's just use an easy number, $600,000 to the police department. And then within the next couple of weeks after that budget has been passed, you give something to the police department that will make a situation like raises, like vacation time. When you give vacation time, there's still money on the books. But when you do that and you don't amend the budget to cover that, what is the outcome? You're over your budget,
You're
right?
over your budget. Yeah, you should look towards the end of every year, you should look at your budget variances and determine how far off you are
But
within or over your
if
budget.
you pass the budget first by ordinance, and then you do this the very next council meeting, you don't amend the budget to allow that, is that not passing or keeping an illegal budget? Because if you can do the math, the fraction is easy to come out with 5% over your budget. Matter of fact, I would be 10% over.
I would suggest that you have a phone call with Ms. Marsha.
You talking about
Because
couldn't call her?
we have a list of items on the agenda.
Mayor, you give me permission because you're talking about couldn't call me.
Okay. Well, all I'm saying is that this is a way to reduce the deficits in the police department. I mean, I don't know if you want to say you want to reduce it X amount every year, or just as fund balance in the general fund allows. Because if you look at the fund balance in the general fund, you see the $1,049,003. You don't want to create a deficit in the general fund by trying to reduce one in the police department and the street department. So, but like I said, the legislative auditor is requiring you to formulate a plan, and it could be something just as simple as making operating transfers from the general fund to the police fund, which is in essence forgiving that debt. Does anybody have any questions?
I understand.
Ms. Paulette, Ms. Jenkins, Councilman Lake.
Because in prior years, the treatment has not been consistent.
And this dates back to what year?
2006, I believe.
2006
Yeah.
to 2012. And we're working on correcting for 2013.
13, yeah. Yeah, I think we just found out what we need to transfer this year for 2013. It's about $106,000 that have been set up as a liability that should be an operating transfer. So I think we've already got that under control.
Do you have the wording that you need?
That email I sent you, Anybody? That you're going to plan to reduce the operating transfers in the street department and the police department by operating transfers from the general fund as permitted by fund balance in the general fund.
Okay, do I need to have a motion to do so?
I just said it.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions about what Ms. Marsha stated before I make the motion? I mean, not make the motion. Ask what the motion to be made. Anybody have any questions about our breakdown?
I don't understand this. I don't understand the street. I just don't see.
I think the street is a coding issue with salaries sometimes.
I don't know what any street we've gone over.
I think, that's what I think in the street is coding.
Are you saying coat?
Coding.
C-O-T or
C-O-D.
COD.
That's what I thought.
C-O-D-I-N-G.
In other words, it hadn't been put in the right spot
Yeah, I think there's a coding issue that we gotta go back and look at.
to be.
I don't know, sometimes when the CPA does things, sometimes it's kind of codes. I think that's a coding issue.
Okay.
Mayor,
CPA,
and Ms.
so
Marsha,
we're gonna check
part of
and
our
see.
money that, when we write citations, it does go back into the general fund.
Yes.
You said no, Mayor?
Well, I mean, it's in the police department fund. It's in the
Okay.
police department as revenue in the police department. That's where it is.
Okay. So the motion states one more time, so everybody understand what it says. One more time. Okay, I want everybody to be clear.
The town of Homer plans to reduce the deficit in the street fund and the police fund by operating transfers, making operating transfers from the general fund to the police fund and the street fund as allowed by the fund balance of the general fund. Now, one thing you want to remember, when you're making these transfers, these are repayment transfers. These are not your regular yearly transfers. So it's my understanding that that all the transfers are recorded as revenue in the street and the police funds. So those liabilities should be reducing instead of building up. But you've got to make sure that by your regular transfers and these payback, what I call payback transfers, you don't create a deficit in your general fund. You just have to look at your budget. You'll have to budget what I call the repayment transfers as well as the normal transfers. So the street department and the police department should probably show a profit by the amount of those repayment transfers.
And you said it was not established in prior years, that was a long,
It hasn't been consistent for a number of years. And it really depends on, what the council, how the council wants to treat them.
okay. Okay, so we have a policy for the town of Homer to reduce the deficit in the police and the street fund by making operating transfers to the street and police funds without making a deficit in the general fund. So we can balance out in 2013. At this time, I will hear a motion to adopt this policy. Moved by Councilman Wade, second.
I'll second it.
Second by Councilman Millican. All in favor, state by saying aye. Is anyone opposed?
I don't know enough about it to oppose, but I just know when we need to watch it more.
So which one you want? You gotta take a stand, you're gonna,
I'm gonna let it go.
that's a yay? That's 3-0, maybe pass. Thanks, report. It's your report, thank you so much.